एक बार फिर से वापस रुख करते हैं शायद इंग्लिश में इस वक्त
back in 2020 it is at last genuinely $100 billion that are being reallocated, and France did more than what it was requested to do. We reallocated 40% of our SDRs. So I, of course, call upon all countries to continue and, most importantly, to deliver on what they committed to be doing.
बताया जा रहा है कि फ्रांस ने जो वादा किया था उससे ज़्यादा उन्होंने योगदान दिया है। फ्रांस की तरफ से लगातार मदद पहुंचाई गई है।
To finance climate transition in developing countries. And in June, we had a report in Paris telling us that we were about to reach that target. It is a commitment that was made in 2015, and we exerted more pressure so that we could do it. Third element, we could see that what was done in Paris, and remember we had this first meeting of joint financing, all multilateral developing banks attending with the major financial institutions. Well, we got some results. We're increasing the risks taken by our developing banks and development banks.
हम सब जो यहाँ पर डेवलपिंग बैंक्स और यहाँ पर इकट्ठा हुए और जो इंस्टीट्यूशंस के साथ हम यहाँ पर इकट्ठा हुए, ये रिस्क टेकिंग एबिलिटी को आने वाले दिनों में खासकर डेवलपिंग कंट्रीज की रिस्क टेकिंग एबिलिटी को बढ़ाएंगे.
And at the G20, we all agreed upon this commitment taken in Paris with the goal of having $200 billion of private finance for developing countries. So all of that
और हम सब यहाँ पर इस निश्चय पर पहुंचे हैं कि हम सब मिलकर $200 बिलियन प्राइवेट फाइनेंस करेंगे उन देशों के लिए जो ज्यादा जरूरतमंद हैं.
But we want to do more in terms of efficiency.
And
this is also a commitment that we made in Paris. First of all, we support a deep reform of global governance. This is Security Council, but as well the World Bank and the IMF. They have to reflect today's reality and in terms of demography and economy. And then we want to increase the available tools. That's why we want to replenish the World Bank, and France is supporting that so that the emerging countries have a greater role to play. And we want, of course, to increase as well climate change. And we want some further commitments on behalf of the emerging countries to phase out coal. Next, the IMF. Here again, we expect some
कोयले को फेज आउट करने के लिए डेवलपिंग कंट्रीज को और जो मदद होगी उसके लिए भी फ्रांस अपना कमिटमेंट जारी रखेगा.
We stand ready to do more, and we said it today. So it is the very same agenda, a greater financing mobilization around the world, and let me tell you that France upgraded its commitments, and we reached
लक्ष्य कह सकते हैं G20 का, आप जहां वित्तीय मोबिलाइजेशन हो पूरी दुनिया के लिए.
Development projects, and we also want the same to happen at the international level. And this is the reason why we committed to the replenishment of IFA, the International Fund for Agricultural Development, and the meeting will be taking place in December. And I would like to thank President Alvaro Lario of IFAD for being with us today. We need IFAD because IFAD is very much fighting to increase the productivity and the efficiency of the agriculture systems all around the world, in particular given that they are mostly impacted by the war. And then we expressed our support to a number of initiatives taken in Paris or in Nairobi, because this massive financing leap also requires some additional resources. So we need to find some new international resources. And together with President Ruto, we
तो हमें अब नए फाइनेंशियल रिसोर्सेज भी ढूंढने पड़ेंगे ताकि हम उन देशों को फाइनेंस कर सके जहां G20 में जिनको सबसे ज्यादा इसकी जरूरत है.
And I commend his initiatives for a new kind of carbon tax with a genuine price. So it is the very same agenda and that we are working on climate change. And
हम क्लाइमेट चेंज पर भी, जलवायु परिवर्तन पर भी काम कर रहे हैं, ये भी हमारे एजेंडा में है.
We're not on the right trajectory, and the G20 is a key player in this. Today we acknowledge a goal of tripling the production of renewable energy. And we also have the same ambition for low carbon technology, including the nuclear energy. And we're also committed to developing a major vast rail corridor between India, Saudi Arabia and Europe, and in order to transport to green hydrogen and
भारत और सऊदी अरेबिया के बीच में जो बनाने की बात हो रही है उस पर भी हमारा कमिटमेंट है और हम अपना योगदान देंगे.
And by some sort of a rising state of mind, including within the G20, on the issue of climate. First of all, it is too easy to say for some of the emerging countries that it is only for the wealthiest country to bear the responsibility. The Europeans are facing their responsibility. We have the only credible international commitment.
इमर्जिंग देशों के लिए ये कहना बहुत आसान है कि क्लाइमेट चेंज की जिम्मेदारी विकसित देशों पर है, लेकिन ये हम सब की साझा जिम्मेदारी है.
To reach carbon neutrality in 2050 and the goals that were set for 2030. I'm very pleased that some join us with this 2050
हमने 2030 के लिए एक लक्ष्य तय किया हुआ है और 2050 तक हमें पूरी तरह से इस पर अमल करना है.
We have the 100 billion commitment, as said in June in Paris and reiterated here. But many
100 बिलियन का जो डॉलर्स का जो कमिटमेंट है उस पे भी हम प्रतिबद्ध हैं.
Say that we will achieve the Paris Agreement goals without phasing out fossil fuels.
और पेरिस कमिटमेंट जो है जलवायु परिवर्तन पर, उसके लिए हम प्रतिबद्ध हैं और चरणबद्ध तरीके से फॉसिल फ्यूल जो है उसको हम फेज आउट करेंगे.
South Africa, Senegal and Indonesia. And this is very much what we've been discussing with a number of partners, including Prime Minister Modi. But more generally, with all emerging countries, we need to phase out coal and much faster than we are doing, and we need to work on phasing out oil as well.
देशों को तेजी से कोल को फेज आउट करना पड़ेगा. जिस तेजी से वो कर रहे हैं उससे कहीं ज्यादा तेजी से काम करना होगा.
2045 we could still leave with oil while comply with the goals set in the Paris Agreement, but I think this is not the case. This is not true.
और हम अगर ऐसे ही बढ़ेंगे तो 2040-45 तक पेरिस एग्रीमेंट को लागू करने में कामयाब होंगे.
Nonetheless, we have to look at science. Lastly, we'd like to tell you that we had a chance to talk about technology on artificial intelligence. France has a double
और अंतिम में
purpose.
टेक्नोलॉजी पर बात करें तो आर्टिफिशियल इंटेलिजेंस आज के ज़माने का एक बड़ा जरिया है तकनीक के क्षेत्र में.
On the issue of artificial intelligence, we want
artificial intelligence और टेक्नोलॉजी के मुद्दे पर भी बात की.
for their development.
और हम चाहते हैं कि तमाम
ये जो सवाल
necessary